Welcome to the NTT INDYCAR Series Practice 2 live from Long Beach. Cars are rolling here in California, but where yesterday it was bright and warm, today the polar opposite. Cold, overcast, windy, and the kind of conditions that make a tough circuit even tougher. Welcome here, a replay of Kyffin Simpson down at turn 9, which has proved tricky all the way through the weekend.
Every year, the braking bump in turn 9 can throw you for fits, especially on a cold racetrack when you're trying to figure out where the grip is. On board now with Santino Ferrucci in the Sexton Properties car. He gets the back half of his Indy car locked up, crossed up. It's either rear axle or front axle. It never seems to be all four, which is what your goal is, to have that slip angle. Colton Herta locking up the right front. And that's why it's called brake balance. You want to try to balance front and rear, and ideally all four are just starting to slip at the same time.
But as we get a replay here of Scott Dixon.
Oh boy, what is he doing out there? That was crazy.
Yeah, and then you can see there's some damage there to the right front. That's something that the drivers try to do. It's an interesting kind of approach to turn 6 there. There's a wall that comes up, and you want to get as close as you can, but that's
James, he must have been looking down at the dash on a setting. That was not, there's no way that was his intended line. I don't know what happened there, but either a loss of focus or reference. But that could have been catastrophic. He's lucky that didn't eliminate half the race car.
Guys, this is so unlike Scott Dixon, the weekend that he's having here.
So you can see how the wall's got that kind of opening there. That's a crossover to the other side of the racetrack. And Scott, eyes already on the apex, just slightly misjudged it.
Very, very un-Scott Dixon-like mistake here, as you see damage to the floor. The right front for sure grenaded internally, but the right rear wheel, that's a huge impact, Kevin, to shatter the IndyCar wheel and rim like that. So there will be tons of repair.
And you can see what they're going to do to the floor. They can get that good enough for him to do some more work in the session with some tape, but it's the right rear that's the issue. There are some suspension parts that are bent, so that's going to be a change. They can do that relatively quickly. He'll get back out, but he's going to miss a lot of this session.
And I can tell you guys, Kevin says they're going to get it good enough. Just putting some Bondo over the floor, that's a very key part of this race car and how it develops downforce. This is going to feel terrible for Scott Dixon when he goes back out.
They haven't even seemingly worked on the right front. You have to think that at minimum a steering arm is bent, and if he gets back out there, it'd be a miracle if that thing even tracks straight.
Another guy with some issues, the number 14 of Santino Ferrucci. Let's take a listen to some radio from the 14.
The throttle is sticking. And take it easy, I don't want to wreck. Yeah, copy that, come see us.
He said, take it easy, I don't want to wreck?
Yeah, I think it was something about throttle sticking is what we're hearing on there. So yeah, get it back to the pits nice and easy. It's a terrifying experience in a race car. Riding on board now with your pole sitter from last year, Felix Rosenquist with Meyershank Racing. I just love these shots, guys. Through the fountain, so easy to get it wrong. Got to be so gentle on the throttle. The rhythm through this section, so much fun. Felix 5th in practice yesterday, so the pace clearly still there.
The undulation here takes you by surprise. It's a real steep climb and then a massive drop down into 8.
For a street circuit, it's just got some super unique qualities, like that elevation change. You know, just preceding it, you've got turn 6. The radius of that corner is pretty unique for a street circuit. Turn 10 here, there's no corner like turn 10 anywhere else, I think, in the calendar.
One thing I heard on board with Rosenquist's car is brake balance sounds perfect. You hear just a little bit of ratcheting in the gearbox as he goes to P5. That tells me that he's just got the perfect amount of rear slip angle, not too heavy on rear brake balance, just right as the gearbox is slipping, almost locking up, but not quite there. How about this guy? Finally, some practice time for the rookie on a Friday.
Just notice how high he sits in the cockpit. He's not hugely tall, Schwartzman, but sitting very high up in the cockpit. Jack down on pit lane with news on the 83.
Yeah, I got the opportunity to speak to Piers Phillips, the CEO of Prema, and I just asked him, how are you guys feeling? I know it's not been the start of the season maybe you were hoping for, and the thing that he gave me was absolute confidence that he trusts his team and they trust this process. As Townsend said, this is the first time he's really got a lot of practice, and that's why they feel they're able to progress through the weekend. One of the things they're really just hoping for is, you know, an under-the-radar, smooth weekend, progress every weekend, progress every lap. I know that Robert's on a set of the new, harder primary tyres now. It's going to be really interesting to see where he stacks up, but a lot of confidence in what that Prema team are doing right now.
Well, I've been really impressed with his mental strength. I can't tell you, as a rookie to a brand new series in a brand new country, never seen any of these racetracks, all the radio issues at St. Pete, the car catching on fire at Thermal in practice, he never seemed to get rattled. He never seemed to have a meltdown of frustration. He just stayed calm. He helped the team fix the issues, and now he's getting the reward, which is trouble-free practice so far.
On board, driver's eye. Oh, and that's a big clonk on that curve, and he was telling us on the track walk not to do that.
It's like you were saying, T-Bell, it's that off camber, that way the track falls away from you on the exit there. If you have a little bit of an imbalance, whether it's understeer, the front's pushing, oversteer, the rear's trying to snap out like that, whatever you've got is just so much more exaggerated as you're going downhill towards the wall. And we saw this driver hit the wall right there yesterday while riding on board with him, clipped the right rear, bent the toe link, did some damage.
Let's take a look back at Newgarden's teammate Palou Award, that issue in turn one just as we cut away. Watch the right front, guys, way over the pit exit line. That looks like a violation that Kyle Novak, the series director, had outlined would not be considered part of the racetrack. And that right front touched the paint, and as he locked up, it just took him further right, as Palou Award now back just a couple of inches on the line. But he's pushing, Will. This is 2 practices in a row where this guy is 10 tenths, maybe 10 and a half in several sections.
Team leader Graham Rahal, here's some radio from his car now.
Just the rear is not good enough. I mean, that lap, I'm dead sideways everywhere. Just the rear is just not there.
13th on the time charts right now is Graham Rahal complaining of the back of the car, just no grip. And we've heard that from a few drivers, T-Bell, after talking to some of them after practice. It just feels like the track is lower grip than what they were used to, what they were expecting. Of course, first time that IndyCar's coming here with those hybrid units in the car, so it is going to be a little bit different as we see Malukas jump up into the top 5.
Down as we ride on board with the Southern California native and see how slippery things are. Tell us more about Colton Herta.
And I wanted to check in with the 26th Gainbridge team because he'd been sitting for a little while. Rob Edwards, the COO, and Strad just said no concerns, no issues in this session. We're simply managing tires. That goes along with what you were talking about. As of now, most think this is going to be the harder compound, the black side wall, so they want to save as many as they can. And by the way, Herta's teammate Kyle Kirkwood a moment ago went to P1, just bumped by the alternate, the soft tire run by Louis Foster.
And it's not a huge jump that soft tyre's actually given him. 107.2 is the fastest time we've seen so far this weekend, but only to the tune of a tenth of a second over the Will Power's time yesterday.
And right now, Colton is on finally a newer set of those Firestones. He's down in 20th right now. We've seen the pace of Andretti Global through here, you know, around the streets here. Kirkwood, like you say, up to P2. Ericsson was up there as well yesterday. Colton was 6th with the combined times after FP1. But I'll be interested to see if this lap's any quicker, because I think it's his 4th lap on this set of tires with cool conditions.
He's off it right now. He's going to gather things back up and try to fire off one more. As you look at Andretti Global's most wins by track since 2018, and this is their happy place. Always seem to roll off quick here over the last several years. Of course, Colton Herta's been getting it done at Laguna Seca as well, but this looks to be a push lap now. Nobody in front of him.
Leader since 2018, second all-time for wins here at Long Beach. A win this weekend will make them even with both Penske and Ganassi at 7 wins.
And if you're Graham Rahal, you're loving it. You've got your 2 young teammates, rookie Foster, DiFrancesco,
getting the data,
doing the work for you to get the information, and hopefully Graham can put it all together. Look at that right hand goes down. 2 cranks of the brake bias knob. He'll be looking to move that balance further forward.
Colton Herta got that lap in, Will.
Yep, 107.2 for
That's
Colton Herta. Power
fast.
up to P3.
On the hard tire,
Absolutely.
that's good.
Nolan Siegel now out on the soft tire as well. McLaren taking a leaf out of the RLL book as we then go for a fast one with Graham Rahal.
Really clean lap so far. You saw at the start of the lap, Graham Rahal softened the rear roll bar, trying to get more rear traction.
Stiffen. He went from one.
No, he went forward.
It went from 1 to 2 on the dash.
So he's got it reversed.
I couldn't tell you, but I went from 1 to 2. I don't think he was running full stiff.
Did it go 1 to 2?
Yeah.
On RARB?
Yeah, on RARB, exactly right.
This on board then with McLaughlin in the Dex Imaging Chevrolet.
Just had a bit of an issue, and McLaughlin's been struggling here at Long Beach. Not statistically his best track. Both his teammates running well. Down here into turn 1, yeah, that left front just hangs up. Got to go into the runoff. So still just struggling to find a comfort zone here. He's sitting P11, not terrible.
Just put on a new set of the hard tires. It looks like 3 laps were on those, so maybe just not quite up to temperature. Track temp still just 72 degrees, Will. So the sun pops out, it's going to jump 30 degrees here. Checkered flag.
Is out. Siegel is your fastest driver. Herta also on a 107.1. Guys, listen, I'm still finding my way in this series. This is all new to me. But the fact that we have our top 2 drivers from the session, both on 1-minute 7.1s, on entirely different compounds of tire, what does that tell us about what we have coming this afternoon for qualifying?
It tells me Colton Herta is the man right now out there. It is California. He wins at Laguna. He wins at Long Beach. Herta wants a second home. They want a vacation home between Laguna and Long Beach to own. They really know how to get it done, both Colton Herta and his Andretti team. How's Connor Daly doing this session? All the way down in 24th.
24th.
Yeah, still struggling. Stingray Robb as well.
Well, for the first time in his young IndyCar career, Nolan Siegel tops a session, a 1-minute 7.116 from the McLaren driver, who has never made it into the Fast 6. I put my money on him doing that today. He's looked phenomenal.